Good morning and welcome back to day 5 of climbing Kilimanjaro. So today we are hiking to base camp, which is 4,600 meters, similar to Lava Tower. The only thing I found out yesterday was we are not staying at base camp. We actually stay higher than base camp, which is like upper base camp, or I think it's called, and all the Can Do adventure treks stay there. So we're staying there, and that is 4,720 meters above sea level, and that's where we sleep. Well, sleep. You'll find out everything else, what I mean by that, in the next video for the summit. 5 kilometer trek today. It's going to take about 5.5 hours because it's all uphill and it's a lot of elevation gain. I did not sleep that well last night. That was probably the first night since being up here that I didn't sleep that well, so I'm a bit tired today, so we'll see how that goes, but I've got a lot of caffeine tablets to get me through. So we started off the day how we usually do, and that's just having breakfast. We also had these incredible views this morning, which we weren't treated to at all yesterday, so that was really nice. This is again another fit check for the day. So this section is very short, and it's honestly not a very hard section. It is a little bit steep in some sections, but it's walking on the terrain you're seeing here. It goes so quickly because you're so used to walking for so many hours of the day. This actually goes really quickly because I think it's only about a 5-hour walk to base camp, but you are walking through what seems like out of this world terrain to me. It felt like we were on Mars through this section. It was just honestly breathtaking to walk through, and again treated to beautiful weather. Again, we have just been very lucky, but yeah, before we knew it we were at the lower base camp, which is what you're seeing now, which is probably the camp you're going to stay at if you're not staying with Can Do Adventures. So this is lower base camp. Hold on, guys. We still got, I think, 100 meters or so up there to get to our base camp. So one thing I'm definitely thankful for is staying at the higher base camp, because it not only takes away from how long you're going to have to walk on your summit day, but it also means you're staying at a bit of a higher elevation. And yeah, that section was very steep and very slippery, so I'm very, very happy we didn't have to do that in the pitch darkness of the night for summit night. So we've made it to base camp. It took us 4.5 hours. Pretty sure that's the route we go to the summit. Feeling pretty good at 4,720 meters. We're just gonna have some lunch and then pretty much start prepping for the summit. I do apologize if there wasn't a lot of filming in that last lot. Just the altitude really does affect kind of just everything feels like 10 times harder, but once I stop I'm completely fine. It's just while walking. Good afternoon everyone and welcome to the summit video. I'm currently at base camp, at the higher base camp, and pretty much this is day 5. We're technically summiting on day 6, but you start your hike to the summit on day 5. So pretty much what happens is we've just had lunch and everything, and now I'm going to have a nap, because you need to try and have a nap before the summit, because essentially with Can Do, what they do is they wake you up at 10:45 p.m. on day 5, and you leave at 11:30 p.m. on day 5, so you can summit on the day 6 for sunrise. And then pretty much after you've summited, which is another 1,100 meters from where, give or take, from where I am now at base camp, once you have summited, you will then make your way back down to base camp, where you'll have your breakfast and you'll pack up all your things. You don't need to, like, this is the porter's bag, so the porter's bag actually stays here, and all you have to do is pack your day pack full of like your water, your snacks, your camera and all your warm clothes, and then you come back and sort all this stuff out when you come back after summiting. So that's good. Once that's all done, you'll head all the way down and you pretty much descend a massive amount. I think that's pretty much your summit night and what to expect. And when you wake up, you will also have biscuits and like hot drinks around like 11 o'clock. And also you have an early dinner, so our dinner is going to be around like 5 p.m. today, so we can try and get a couple hours sleep before summiting. So yeah, just stay tuned and I'll get back to you with all the other details and take you along for the journey. So pretty much after that I had a nap, well tried to have a nap I should say, and then we got woken up at 5 o'clock and we got, again, incredible views. Everything had cleared up for us and we were able to see kind of our surroundings. We had dinner and then we went back to bed, and then this was my tent at 10:30 at night. It had frosted over. That gives you an example of how bloody cold it is on top of this mountain. We then had our hot drinks and our biscuits, and then we started our walk. Now I didn't do a lot of filming going up to the summit because it is pitch black, so you can't really see anything, and you are really just focusing on trying to put one foot after the other and get yourself up there. You have plenty of breaks, but these breaks are a bit different to the other ones. You will only have 5 minutes stop-offs, because if you stop for too long, you do end up freezing and you will be very, very cold. But before we knew it, we were hiking towards the peak and we were treated to a beautiful sunrise. We had timed it perfectly well that we would be at the summit for sunrise. It was cold. I was feeling very good though, but it was just bloody cold. And yeah, and then we got to the summit and all of my group made it there successfully. Made to the summit. Feeling good. Only took us like 6.5, 8 hours. Something like that. Freezing cold. Absolutely.
I think we left around midnight.
I look like an egg, but I'm stoked.
I think we were midnight. It's about 6:30, so about 6.5 hours.
About 6.5 hours. Well done, team. Well done.
Yeah.
So we snapped a couple pictures at the summit, and then you head down to Stellar Point, which is a couple hundred meters lower than the summit. This is just because you can't actually stay at the summit for too long because it is such high altitude and you've gained so much altitude in such a short period of time. So this is just to limit your chances of getting altitude sickness. We're back at Stellar Point, having a rest. And yeah, solid effort by the team. And then we're going to make our way all the way back down to base camp. Hi. After a quick break at Stellar Point, you start heading back down to base camp. Now this is probably one of the harder parts of the summit. Well, to me it was, because it is going down volcanic scree, so it is very slippery and you pretty much do have to ski going down, and it is exhausting. This was more exhausting to me than actually going up the mountain. But then once you get to camp, you do get a lovely little greeting, which you're about to see. And yeah, we successfully summited in 11 hours. Just keep that in mind, 11 hours. Little man, our chef, actually baked us a cake at base camp, which is absolutely insane, and the cake was absolutely delicious, if I do say. And then you pretty much just do your normal routine after you've had your late breakfast, lunch, and you start heading down. We got given the option if we wanted to head down for 3 hours to a camp or to 5 hours to a camp. We of course took the 3-hour option because it's a lot of walking. It would have been like a 16-hour day. And then we eventually arrived at our camp, which we're seeing now. And I didn't film anything else for the rest of the day because I won't lie, I was absolutely exhausted. But it was a good summit day, and just expect to be quite defeated. Good morning all. I'm just going to give you a bit of a rundown of what happened on Kilimanjaro. So essentially, we left at 11:30. We walked to the summit, which took us about 6.5 hours. Got to the summit, and you don't have a lot of time there, which is unfortunate, but it is very high up and the air is thin. I didn't have any issues. I felt honestly completely fine up there, which is really good for me because I love climbing mountains, so I'm happy about that. But you're literally up there for 15 minutes, if that, and then you start walking right back down to Stella Point where you have a break. We were up there for sunrise. We made it up just in time for sunrise, which was really nice. But it is quite, yeah, it was quite rushed. We started probably going down at about 7:30. We didn't get to camp until about 10. And yeah, and then we had the option to sleep for an hour until 11. And then we had a lunch, late breakfast. We then got given the option we could either walk for 3 hours to Upper Camp, which is where we are now, or 5 hours to Mawika Camp, I think it is. I've definitely probably got that wrong. We chose 3 hours because we were all really just exhausted. None of us had slept in over 24 hours. We were in pain, and yeah, we definitely made the right choice. So we did that. So now we've got a 5-hour walk today from Upper Camp, which is actually nice because we all slept for about 10 to 11 hours last night, which was well needed. That is my rundown of Kilimanjaro. Going up is very slow going. It's very cold. Make sure you pack a shit ton of layers. Keep an eye out for the video on what I packed and what I wore up. I actually wish I brought an extra layer because I was quite cold, especially from like 4 till 6 a.m. Don't expect to have a lot of time at the summit to sit, take it in, have a snack or anything, because you are only going to get a minimal amount of time there. I'll show you what it's like going down into the gate and everything, but I don't think it's going to be that interesting. It's literally just a straight down walk. Everyone's ready to just kind of get back to the hotel and finish with the day. The final morning we gave a speech to our guides and our porters because honestly you cannot do Kilimanjaro without them, and then of course they sang the Kilimanjaro song for us one last time.
Jambo bwana, habari gani, nzuri sana, wageni, wakaribishwa, Kilimanjaro.
The last couple clips are just going to show you what it's like going down. The train is pretty much just heading into rainforest, and it did start raining for us unfortunately. This is also just a little look at the camp that we were meant to stay at, which would have made it just a 3-hour walk to the gate, but again, no regrets taking the longer hike for today. And again, it did start pissing down with rain, which kind of gave us a good experience, but I wanted to congratulate my group for all making it up to the summit and down successfully. You all are incredible.
Hakuna matata, karibu Tanzania, hakuna matata, karibu Kilimanjaro, hakuna matata.